Welcome back Bio Squad to another video. This is the episode 5 of the Break It Down series. In this video, we will be going through the mitotic cell cycle. If you are new to this channel, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and finally watch and learn. Without wasting further more time, let's get straight into it. Question 1. What occurs in anaphase of mitosis? A. Chromatids line up on the equator of the cell. B. Chromatids reach the poles of the spindle. C. Chromatids separate and move to opposite poles. D. Chromatids start to coil up and become visible. If you recall the stage known as anaphase of mitosis, anaphase is concerned with chromatid separation. Therefore, the best possible answer out of all the given options is option C. Chromatids separate and move to opposite poles. Why is that once again? It is because anaphase is solely concerned with chromatid separation and nothing else. Therefore, the answer is C. Question 2. The cell cycle includes mitosis. Which are features of nuclear division? 1. Forms cells of equal size to the parent cell. 2. Forms genetically identical cells. 3. Semi-conservative replication of DNA. Question refers to features of nuclear division, and they have specifically highlighted the word nuclear in bold. And mitosis is nothing but nuclear division. Hence, the feature is to form genetically identical cells. Therefore, the answer must contain 2. Why are 1 and 3 incorrect? Well, let's look at 1. Forms cells of equal size to a parent cell. That occurs due to cytokinesis, not due to nuclear division. Therefore, 1 is incorrect. 3. Semi-conservative replication of DNA. That occurs in interphase, not mitosis. And since the question refers to nuclear division, which is mitosis, 3 is incorrect. Therefore, the best possible answer being A, 2 only. Question 3. The graph represents the changes in the quantity of DNA present in one nucleus at different stages in the life cycle of a mammal. Which stage takes place at X? If you go through this given graph, you can see that the DNA content doubles first at the point marked as fertilization and then drops back again to 2 arbitrary units at X. Therefore, X should be the last stage of mitosis where the DNA content splits into 2. Hence, it is telophase, because the last stage of mitosis is nothing but telophase. Because if you recall the correct order of mitosis, it is prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and lastly telophase. And the last stage of mitosis is telophase. Hence, at telophase, the DNA content splits into 2. Therefore, which stage takes place at X? It is nothing but telophase. Hence, the answer is D. Question 4. At which stage of mitosis do these events occur? The 2 columns given are centromeres separate, spiralization and condensation of DNA. Centromere separation occurs at anaphase, as anaphase is concerned with chromatid separation. And condensation of DNA obviously occurs in prophase. Therefore, the answer is B. Centromeres separate at anaphase, spiralization and condensation of DNA at prophase. Question 5. During which process does only mitosis occur? Mitosis is involved in continuous cell divisions, hence should be in the production of cancerous tissue. And if you go through the answers A, B, C and D, answer B talks about the production of cancerous tissue in alveoli. And yes, production of cancerous tissue involves multiple rapid cell divisions. And multiple rapid cell divisions does involve mitosis. Therefore, the process that involves mitosis only is B, the production of cancerous tissue in alveoli. Question 6. The graph shows the length of the spindle fibers during mitosis. Which region of the graph shows when the centromeres detach from the spindle fibers? Centromeres detach from spindle fibers once the process of mitosis is over. Hence, it should be D. And it is obvious from this given graph, because at D, the length of spindle fibers reaches 0. That means the process of mitosis is over, telophase has been reached and done with. Hence, this is where the spindle fiber starts to break down and reach length of 0. Therefore, D is the correct choice. Question 7. Each of the following events takes place during mitosis. 1. Centromeres divide. 2. Chromatids move to opposite poles of the cell. 3. Chromosomes line up along the equator of the spindle. 4. Chromosomes uncoil. 5. 2 chromatids are joined by a centromere. In which order do the events take place? The process of mitosis starts with prophase, where chromosomes starts to be visible, and it ends with chromosomes uncoiling in telophase. Hence, in order to make it easier for us, let's look at the column labeled as last. And which event occurs last? Chromosome uncoiling occurs last. Therefore, it should be event number 4, chromosomes uncoil. And the only answer that has event number 4 in the last column is answer D. Therefore, D must be the correct choice. Let's go through the sequence of events for answer D. First, it starts with 2 chromatids are joined by a centromere. Yes, that is correct, because at the start we are able to see the chromosomes because they are visible. And if you look at a chromosome, one chromosome has 2 chromatids joined by a centromere. Therefore, yes, 2 chromatids are joined by a centromere is first, followed by chromosomes line up along the equator of the spindle. And what is that process known as? That process is known as metaphase. And then followed by centromeres dividing, and centromere division occurs at the stage known as anaphase, which is after metaphase. Therefore, yes, the events do occur in the correct order. Followed by chromatids move to opposite poles of the cell, and lastly chromosomes uncoil. Hence, the answer must be D. Question 8. The diagram shows a cell cycle. When radioactive nucleotides are supplied to dividing cells, at which point will they be incorporated into the chromosomes? DNA does involve nucleotides, and DNA replication occurs in interphase. Therefore, A must be the correct choice. B and C are part of mitosis, where DNA replication doesn't occur at all, and D is the start of interphase, which is the G1 phase. And at the G1 phase, there is no DNA replication. DNA replication occurs at the S phase of interphase, and the S phase of interphase should obviously be A, towards the end of interphase. Therefore, A is the correct choice. Question 9. Immediately after which stage in mitosis in an animal cell does the cytoplasm start to divide? The order of mitosis is known as PMAT: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. The cytoplasm starts to divide after the last stage of mitosis, that is telophase, because cytoplasm division occurs in the stage known as cytokinesis, hence immediately after telophase. Therefore, the answer is D, telophase. Question 10. Chromosome telomeres are essential for DNA replication and are not completely replaced during mitosis. A substance X is known that completely replaces telomeres during mitosis. What will be the effect of growing cells with and without substance X? Telomeres is essential to allow continuous cell division. Therefore, without substance X, cell division eventually slows and stops down, because substance X does replace the telomere, and if telomeres are continuously replaced, that means telomeres are available for continuous cell division to occur. Therefore, with substance X, cells divide continually, and without substance X, cell division eventually slows and stops. Therefore, the answer is A, because only A shows the correct effect of growing cells with and without substance X. The other answers B, C, and D have incorrect effects, therefore are not considered to be the correct choice. Question 11. The diagram shows a cell nucleus in prophase of mitosis. Which statement describes the chromosomes found in each daughter nucleus immediately following division of this cell by mitosis? In this given diagram, there are 8 chromosomes overall. each having 2 chromatids. Hence, following mitosis, each daughter nucleus will also have 8 chromosomes, leaving us with the answer being either A or B. And if you look at A, 8 chromosomes each consisting of 4 chromatids. That is incorrect because one chromosome can have maximum of 2 chromatids, not 4. Therefore, A is incorrect, leaving us with the answer being B. 8 chromosomes each containing 1 molecule of DNA. Yes, that is correct because one chromosome will have 1 molecule of DNA. Hence, the answer is B. Question 12. Which is the correct statement concerning cell and nuclear division? A. Haploid eukaryotes can reproduce by mitosis, whereas diploid eukaryotes can reproduce by mitosis or meiosis. Let's leave that one out for the moment and go through the other answers. B. Just before prophase, the mass of DNA is double the normal mass. Following anaphase, this mass is reduced by half, and following cytokinesis, this mass halves again. That is obviously incorrect. The mass of DNA, yes, it does double just before prophase, but following anaphase, the mass is not reduced by half. The mass is only reduced by half following cytokinesis. Let's look at C. Mutagens can cause mutations, whereas carcinogens can cause cancer. This means that all mutagens are carcinogenic. That is incorrect because not all mutations lead to cancer. Some mutations do occur in the body which does not lead to cancer at all. Therefore, not all mutations cause cancer, hence not all mutagens are carcinogenic. Hence, C is incorrect. D. Some of the roles of mitosis are growth, asexual reproduction, cell repair following tissue damage, and cell replacement. There is no such thing as cell repair, but rather tissue repair. Since answer D talks about cell repair, which is an incorrect role, D is incorrect, leaving us with the only possible answer being A. Haploid eukaryotes can reproduce by mitosis. Yes, that is correct. And the difference between haploid and diploid is that haploid means there is only one set of chromosomes, whereas diploid means 2 sets of chromosomes. Nonetheless, the answer is only A because we just discussed why the other answers are incorrect. Therefore, in such questions, always go through the answers and try to rule out the incorrect ones. Then obviously you will end up with the correct answer. Hence, the correct statement is A. Question 13. A student examined the cells in the growing region meristem of an onion root and obtained the data below. What percentage of cells contain chromosomes that appear as 2 chromatids? Chromosomes start to be visible at prophase as 2 chromatids. Hence, we should consider from prophase onwards. And we can see that chromosomes will appear as 2 chromatids only during prophase and metaphase. Why is that? Because at anaphase, the chromatids separate. Hence, we do not see a chromosome having 2 chromatids as anaphase is concerned with chromatid separation. Therefore, if we only consider prophase and metaphase, that is 73 plus 16, you get 89, and 89 upon the total number of cells. And for the total number of cells, you have to consider the whole thing given over here. That is from interphase to telophase. And you will end up with the total number of cells being 1000. So 89 upon 1000 times 100, since they are asking for the percentage of cells, that leaves us with the answer being 8.9%. Hence, the answer is C. The percentage of cells that contain chromosomes appearing as 2 chromatids is 8.9%. Question 14. Which row is correct? They have given the columns as diagram and stage, and we simply have to go through each and every diagram and check whether the stage does match the given diagram. If you go through these given options, the best possible answer is D, because D talks about anaphase, and yes, at anaphase chromatid separation takes place, and the diagram does show chromatids being separated. Therefore, D represents the correct row. The other answers A, B and C does not correctly show the given stage. For example, if you look at A, stage being interphase, is not part of mitosis, whereas the diagram given shows a stage of metaphase because the chromosomes are somewhat aligned at the middle or the equator of a cell. If you look at B, for metaphase, this is obviously not the correct diagram because at metaphase, the chromosomes line up towards the middle, not towards the ends or poles of a cell. Therefore, B is incorrect. And if you look at C, at telophase, this is not how the diagram should appear because at telophase, chromatin separation has been done and the nuclear envelope will start reforming, and you will be able to see two opposite ends of the cell, each having its own chromosomes, whereas the diagram given at C does not represent that. Therefore, the best possible answer being D. Question 15. Which metabolic processes will be very active in a cell that has just completed cytokinesis? 1. ATP formation, 2. DNA replication, 3. Protein synthesis. After a cell has just completed cytokinesis, the following stage will be the G1 phase of interphase, and DNA replication doesn't occur at all straight after cytokinesis because DNA replication occurs towards the later stages during S phase of interphase, which is somewhat towards the end of interphase. However, after cytokinesis, during the G1 phase, ATP formation and protein synthesis obviously does occur, hence the answer being B, 1 and 3 only. Question 16. Which statements about the cell cycle are correct? 1. The cell cycle consists of both interphase and mitosis. 2. DNA replication takes place in interphase. 3. A cell can remain in interphase for several months. Actually, all three given statements are correct statements. Yes, the cell cycle does consist of interphase and mitosis, where interphase is subdivided into G1, S phase and G2 phase, whereas mitosis is subdivided into prophase, metaphase, anaphase and telophase. DNA replication obviously does occur in the interphase under the S phase, therefore 2 is also correct. 3. A cell can remain in interphase for several months. This is where most get confused about. However, do keep this in mind. A cell can remain in interphase for several months. Therefore, the answer being A, 1, 2 and 3. Question 17. The diagram shows cells in different stages of the cell cycle. Which is the last stage before cytokinesis? The last stage before cytokinesis out of the given diagrams involves telophase, where chromosomes uncoil and decondense, turning into somewhat of a stringy form. And the best possible diagram that represents this is diagram C. Hence, the last stage before cytokinesis is diagram C. Why are the other answers incorrect? A represents somewhat of metaphase, where the chromosomes are aligned towards the equator or middle of a cell. B represents anaphase, where chromatin separation occurs. D represents cytokinesis, hence not the last stage before cytokinesis, whereas C represents telophase. As you can see, the chromosomes uncoiling and decondensing towards their stringy form. Therefore, C is the correct answer. Question 18. The photomicrographs show cells in various stages of the cell cycle. Which cells contain twice as many DNA molecules as a cell from the same organism after cytokinesis? I have marked above which photomicrograph represents which stage of the mitotic cell cycle. So 1 represents metaphase, 2 represents telophase, 3 prophase, 4 anaphase. Basically, all cells before cytokinesis and after prophase contains twice as many DNA molecules. Why is that? Because DNA replication occurs at the S phase of interphase. And since the cells given over here, that are the photomicrographs given of the cells, are basically representing stages of the mitotic cell cycle, that is after the interphase, that means all of these photomicrographs will have twice as many DNA molecules because it has already passed the interphase stage. And if it has passed the interphase stage, that means it has already done the DNA replication. If DNA replication is over, that means there are twice as many DNA molecules as a cell from the same organism after cytokinesis. Hence the answer is A, 1, 2, 3 and 4, because all 4 photomicrographs are representing stages of mitosis, and all the stages of mitosis will actually contain twice as many DNA molecules because it is before cytokinesis. As at cytokinesis, DNA will return back to its normal amount. However, from prophase and before cytokinesis, that are prophase, metaphase, anaphase and telophase, will contain twice as many DNA molecules. Hence the answer is A. Question 19. A group of chemicals used to treat cancer prevents the formation of the spindle during mitosis. Which phase of mitosis is the first to be affected? Remember this carefully. Formation of spindle occurs at prophase. Hence, obviously the first to be affected would be the prophase. Since the question refers to the chemicals preventing the formation of spindle, and formation of spindle occurs in the stage known as prophase, and the first stage to be affected would be prophase. Hence the answer is C, prophase. Question 20. Mitosis is an important process for organisms. Which features of mitosis are important for single-celled organisms? 1. Asexual reproduction. 2. Growth. 3. Production of genetically identical cells. The question refers to single-celled organisms. Therefore, no growth takes place at all. Hence, feature 2 is incorrect. And since answers A and C have feature 2 in it, they are incorrect, leaving us between the answer B and D. And in single-celled organisms, yes, asexual reproduction does take place, as well as production of genetically identical cells. Therefore, the answer is B, 1 and 3 only. Question 21. Which row correctly shows the behavior of the nuclear envelope, the centrioles and the spindle during a stage of mitosis? Let's look at A. Stage of mitosis, prophase, nuclear envelope disappears. Yes, that is correct. Behavior of organelles, centrioles replicate. That is incorrect because centrioles replicate before prophase. Because at prophase, the centrioles will start to move to the opposite poles of the cell. It does not replicate at prophase. Hence, A is incorrect. B. Stage of mitosis, metaphase, nuclear envelope not present. Yes, that is correct. Centrioles begin to move to poles of cell. That is again incorrect because, as I mentioned, centrioles begin to move to the poles of the cell at prophase, not at metaphase. Hence, the answer B is incorrect. Answer C. Stage of mitosis, anaphase, nuclear envelope begins to reform. That is again incorrect because the nuclear envelope reforms at the stage known as telophase, not at anaphase. Hence, we can rule out answer C. Answer D. Stage of mitosis, telophase. Nuclear envelope reforms. Yes, that is correct. Centrioles, one beside each nucleus. Yes, that is also correct because there will be one nucleus at each pole, and at each pole there is one centriole. Hence, that is correct. Spindle. Spindle microtubules break down. Yes, that is also correct because the purpose or the function of spindle has been carried out and is no longer required. Since telophase is the last stage of mitosis, spindle microtubules will obviously start to break down as the separation of chromatids has been done. Hence, the answer is D. Question 22. Which group of cells can all divide by mitosis? A key thing you should know is that bacterial cells do not undergo mitosis at all because they divide by a process known as binary fission, not mitosis. Hence, answers having bacterial cells are incorrect. Therefore, A and B are incorrect. Let's consider between answers C and D. C mentions red blood cells, and obviously that is incorrect because red blood cells do not undergo any division at all. If you recall correctly, red blood cells do not divide. They just carry out the process of transporting oxygen. Whereas answer D, cancer cells, lymphocytes, stem cells. Yes, they can all divide by mitosis. Hence, that is the correct answer. Question 23. What is the correct sequence of stages in the mitotic cell cycle? The mitotic cell cycle starts with interphase, followed by mitosis, and lastly cytokinesis. Remember that carefully. How does the mitotic cell cycle start? It starts with interphase. What happens after interphase? Then comes mitosis. After mitosis comes the final stage of the mitotic cell cycle, that is cytokinesis, where the cell divides into two and cytoplasm constriction takes place. So now we know that it starts with interphase. How is interphase further split into? Since the answers do not have interphase but rather some letters and numbers like G1, G2 as well as S, well, interphase is further split into G1 phase, S phase and G2 phase, and that is the right order. It starts with G1 phase, followed by S phase where DNA replication takes place, followed by G2 phase, then comes mitosis, then comes cytokinesis. If they haven't mentioned mitosis, then you should know that mitosis can be further divided into its correct order, which is prophase, metaphase, anaphase and telophase. How do you remember that? Just remember the word PMAT. However, over here it just mentions mitosis and cytokinesis, and since we already know how interphase is split into, we know the order as G1 followed by S followed by G2 followed by mitosis and lastly cytokinesis. Hence the answer is C. Question 24. The enzyme telomerase repairs telomeres. It stops the telomeres from getting shorter each time a chromosome is replicated. Telomerase is not normally active in human body cells, but in some diseases telomerase can be activated. In which disease is the enzyme telomerase activated? Remember this carefully. Telomerase is activated in diseases which involve rapid multiple cell divisions. Hence it should be cancer, because obviously in cancer there will be multiple number of divisions occurring at once and hence formation of tumors occur. Therefore the answer is obvious over here. It is A, cancer. And telomerase is an enzyme which is needed to replace a telomere, because without telomeres the cell division stops, but if telomeres are present, that means there will be multiple rapid divisions going on and on and on. Therefore the answer is A, cancer. Question 25. The statements describe events during the mitotic cell cycle. 1. Chromosomes migrate to opposite poles of the spindle. 2. Chromosomes arrange themselves at the equator of the spindle. 3. Chromosomes condense and the nuclear membrane disappears. 4. Centromeres divide. What is the correct order of 3 of these events in the mitotic cell cycle? You should know from the given events, it would start from prophase, where the chromosome starts to condense. Therefore, the answer should start with 3. Chromosomes condense and the nuclear membrane disappears. Therefore, leaving us with the answer being either B or C. After the chromosomes condense, what happens? Well, the chromosomes arrange themselves at the equator of the spindle, and that stage is known as metaphase, which comes after prophase. Hence, the answer being B, 3 followed by 2 followed by 4. What is 4? Centromeres divide. And what is that stage known as? That stage is known as anaphase. And yes, anaphase does come after metaphase. Therefore, it does follow the correct order, starting from prophase, then metaphase, then anaphase. Hence, the answer is B. Question 26. The photomicrograph shows a stage of mitosis. What would be correct for the next stage in mitosis? The current diagram given over here shows metaphase, where the chromosomes are aligned at the equator or the middle of the cell. Since the question refers to what would happen in the next stage, that is, what comes after metaphase? Well, it is anaphase. And what happens in anaphase? In anaphase, chromatid separation occurs. Therefore, would paired chromatids be present? The answer is no. There will be no paired chromatids at all, because in anaphase, which is the next stage from the given current stage, the paired chromatids would split, because anaphase basically means chromatid separation occurring. Therefore, paired chromatids would be absent, and nuclear membrane is of course absent because the nuclear membrane, it disappears at prophase, then it is not present at metaphase, not present at anaphase, and only appears back at telophase. Therefore, the answer is A. Paired chromatids absent, nuclear membrane absent. Question 27. The photomicrographs show cells in various stages of the cell cycle. In which stage does semi-conservative replication of DNA take place? DNA replication occurs in interphase, whereas not in the stages of mitosis. And if you look at the given diagrams, A, B and D represent stages of mitosis, where you can obviously see some stringy-like appearance of chromosomes. And yes, chromosome starts to be visible from prophase onwards. Therefore, A, B and D represent stages of mitosis, not interphase, leaving us with the only possible answer being C. C represents a photomicrograph of a cell in interphase, and yes, DNA replication does occur in interphase. Hence, the answer is C. Question 28. The diagram shows the structure of one chromosome. Which row is correct? You should know what the key parts of a chromosome are. The part labeled as 1 is the centromere, and that is what holds the two chromatids together. The part labeled 2 is the telomere, and that, as we mentioned in the previous questions, is required for multiple cell divisions to occur. Therefore, 1 is centromere, leaving us with the answer being either A or B. 2 is telomere, and that leaves us with the answer being B. And yes, the number of DNA strands are 4, because one chromatid would have 2 DNA strands, and since there are 2 chromatids, that is 4 DNA strands. Hence, the answer is B. Question 29. How many copies of each different DNA molecule will be found in a cell at the start of each of these stages of the mitotic cell cycle? The keyword of this question is at the start of each of the stages. DNA replication occurs at S phase, and G2 comes after S phase, as well as prophase comes after S phase, as well as cytokinesis comes after S phase. Hence, all of the given stages at the start would have 2 copies, because once the DNA replicates at S phase, there will be 2 copies, and since G2, prophase and cytokinesis follows S phase, that means all of the given stages over here would have 2 copies at the start, not at the end. If it was at the end, for cytokinesis it will be 1, because in cytokinesis the DNA amount returns back to normal, that is 1 copy. However, since the question refers to start of the stages, all of them would have 2 copies. Hence, the answer is D. Question 30. Which row shows the correct number of each component of a single chromosome during prophase of mitosis? Remember this carefully. Each chromosome, that is one chromosome, will only have 1 centromere and 2 chromatids, because 1 centromere will hold the 2 chromatids together. Therefore, the answer being B. Centromeres 1, chromatids 2, polynucleotide strands 4. Because yes, one single chromosome will have 2 DNA molecules, 1 DNA molecule on each chromatid, and a DNA molecule consists of 2 strands. Since there are 2 DNA molecules, that means 4 DNA strands or 4 polynucleotide strands. And yes, there are 4 telomeres, 1 at each end of the chromatid. Therefore, the answer is B. And that is the end of this paper. Hope you found this video useful. If you did, please do leave a like and do comment down below from which country you are watching this video right now. Thank you for sticking by and stay tuned for more.